Hare Krishna, Kautukarnava Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you for joining the call on time.
Thank you,
We still have 5 minutes yet before the broadcast will start broadcasting.
Yes, Mataji.
So, yeah, you know the page number, right? From where you
Yes.
have. Okay, good, good. So, how is it going for you working from home?
Uh, Mataji, it's nice to be at home with the devotees, and
That is true. Yeah, more hours of association, huh?
yeah, I feel really blissful being with the devotees, more association.
That's
And
good. That's good. Yeah, you're the
also,
lucky one.
if we are able to hear more, we are able to hear more because of this. There is some schedule every day reading, hearing by Guru Maharaj. There is call, so that is very nice, Mataji.
Right, right, right. Good.
Also, we are having a reading every day, 6 to 6:45. Just the roommates. We read Bhagavatam together. So that's very nice, and we are able to take prasadam together, which we rarely used to take together in one.
Bhunkte bhojate chaiva. Sadvida priti
Yes,
lagna.
ma'am. Everyone is coming up with their own talents in cooking.
In
So
cooking, very good.
yeah, we are relishing very nice prasadam.
Okay, very good. Yeah, there has to be some good coming out of this, right?
Yeah, Mataji. Yeah, we are also suffering in terms of Sankirtan. Yeah, we are not able
That's
to figure
true.
out how to.
That's true. Yeah. But you can always pick up the phone and talk to devotees or, colleagues that you met or people that you gave. It's a good time to do follow up with them.
Yeah, Mataji, that is true. I called 3 or 4 devotees and they felt so nice that I called them after so long. They felt so nice. Yeah, I have to do it more. Mataji.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Krishna has his own ways of doing things and
Yes. How
Mm.
have you been, Mataji? How is it for you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, all these nice sessions are there. So yeah, constantly in touch with devotees. I think I'm seeing more of the devotees than I would.
Do you have a
Than-
challenge, Mataji, working from, I mean, being in the home?
well,
How?
I always stay at home, right?
Yeah, but still it is different because we are not going out at
Yeah,
all.
it is yeah, it is so funny the way where I live. If I just open all the Venetian blinds, then it's almost like I'm sitting in a field. I always say that my house looks like a glass house. There's a lot of windows there.
Is that Vrindavan Prikrama Mataji behind? What is that in behind?
Yes, 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 that's what it is. There you go. Yeah, the Vrindavan Kamal. I'm hiding it.
I didn't find anything, so I just got this picture of Shishi Radha Golokananda. They are from North Carolina, Mataji, New
Oh,
Goloka.
your old home. Very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
so
Yeah.
there used to be a timepiece here, so we removed the time, wall clock and we just put this
That's a good replacement for a wall clock.
for, for now at least.
Yes, and Krishna in any case says that I am time. So
It's okay.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. So we still have 1 more minute. We'll give time for the devotees to come and join because they would be getting off work, and then again some of them were in the previous call where Kumari Leela Mataji was reading.
Yes, Mataji.
Um, and she ended at when Lakshman had just cut off the nose and the ears of Shurpanakha, and I was like, okay,
It was so
Kautukarnava will come to and tell us all the gory details of what happened after that.
it
Yeah,
was so
Kautukarnama. Shraddha Mataji is as busy as she always is, doing broadcasts and her seva. For her, it's like the busiest women. Now she's the director of ISV.
Busy with no work. I'm director of
IS,
laziness.
ISV broadcast director.
That position is reserved for somebody else.
At least when we are hit by corona.
Oh, good, 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 good. So it is 7 o'clock p.m. and the floor is all yours, Kautava Karnava, for you to tell us the Ramayana.
Thank you, Mataji. So welcome everyone for joining this call. We are starting from page 193 in Ramayana. We'll start with chanting Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. So we're starting with Aranya Kant, page 183, Ramayana by His Holiness Bhaktivikas Swami Maharaj. The Rakshasas rushed at Ram with uplifted weapons. However, with 14 arrows, Ram cut their weapons to pieces. With 14 more, he pierced their hearts. Thus, like trees whose trunks had been severed, the Rakshasas fell to the ground dead, bathed in their own blood. Shaking with fear, Shurpanakha fled back to her brother's abode and informed him of the slaughter. You tried to comfort me by sending these Rakshasas to kill Ram and Lakshman, but they have killed all the Rakshasas with ease. Now, you must go yourself to kill Ram and Lakshman. If you do not gain revenge for what they have done to me, then I will give up my life out of shame. Saying this, Shurpanakha fell to the ground, overwhelmed with grief, and began beating her belly, bursting into tears. Hearing his sister's harsh words, Khar became enraged and uttering a vow, give up your sorrow, my sister. I promise to kill Ram and Lakshman this very day so that you may drink their blood. Hearing this, Shurpanakha became somewhat pacified. Khar then ordered his brother Dushan to bring his chariot and weapons to assemble their army of 14,000 Rakshasas. Then Khar mounted his chariot and departed for the Dandakaranya forest with his Rakshasa army. As the Rakshasas proceeded, the dark cloud showered rain mixed with blood upon them, causing Khara's horses to fall down on the road. A vulture came and perched upon Khara's flag standard, while a dark red aura dimmed the light of the sun. Then, as jackals howled frightfully, darkness set in, and Rahu covered the sun, although not in an eclipse. All the while, Khara's left arm trembled violently, and his voice became hoarse and faint. Still, despite witnessing all these harbingers of evil, Khara laughed, saying, O Rakshasas, because of my great prowess, I do not care for any of these so called inauspicious omens. Meanwhile, all the great demigods and rishis assembled in the sky to witness the impending battle. As the Rakshasas approached, Ram described to Lakshman the auspicious signs he had perceived. My arrows are feeling joyful, my bow is stirring with delight, and my right arm is throbbing. My dear brother, take Sita at once to a mountain cave and watch over her carefully while I massacre these Rakshasas. After Lakshman and Sita had departed, Ram put on his suit of blazing golden armor. Then, when the Rakshasas advanced toward him, while roaring ferociously, Ram summoned his all devouring anger and assumed a dreadful form. As the Rakshasa army surrounded Ram, Khara released 1,000 arrows, while other Rakshasas showered innumerable weapons such as clubs, spears, swords, and axes. Ram, however, easily cut those weapons to pieces with his arrows. Even though deeply cut and bleeding, he appeared not to feel any pain. Ram then released thousands of arrows at the Rakshasas, cutting off their bows, flags, shields, armor, and bodily limbs. Indeed, many of the Rakshasas fell down dead, along with their elephants and horses, their chariots smashed to pieces. At that, the Rakshasas became further enraged and countered by showering their weapons upon Ram in even greater profusion. Ram, however, again cut their weapons to pieces with his arrows and killed many Rakshasas by piercing their hearts. He severed many of their grosbeak heads from their gigantic trunks. Upon seeing this, the remaining Rakshasas fled in fear to the shelter of Khara. In great anger, Dushan suddenly rushed at Ram. Many Rakshasas followed him, encouraged by his valor. In response, Ram took up the best of Gandharva weapons. Thus, from his bow came many thousands of arrows which soon covered the sun, engulfing the battle scene in darkness. From those arrows, thousands of Rakshasas were cut to pieces and their dismembered corpses collected in tall heaps. Dushan then rallied his army, urging the remaining 5,000 Rakshasas to attack Ram. In the fight that ensued, Dushana fought heroically, and when Ram saw that the brother of Khara successfully counteracted his arrows, he became extremely angry. Taking up a blazing arrow, Ram cut Dushan's bow in half. Then, with four more arrows, he killed the Rakshasas' horses. With another arrow, Ram severed the head of Dushana's driver, and with three more arrows pierced the Rakshasa's chest. Although in great pain, Dushana jumped down from his disabled chariot and took up a spiked club. He then rushed headlong toward Ram, intent on killing him. However, with just two arrows, Ram quickly severed Dushana's arms, and then, firing one more, he killed the terrible Rakshasa. Seeing Dushan fall, the remainder of his army rushed toward Ram, seeking revenge. Working at the speed of mind, Ram released 5,000 arrows in a steady stream, like so many blazing meteors. Thus, the 5,000 Rakshasa soldiers soon lay slaughtered on the ground. Seeing this great massacre, Khara ordered his few remaining soldiers to attack. Ram, however, made short work of them. Thus, the Dandakaranya forest became a sea of reddish mud from the blood of the 14,000 slain Rakshasas, with only Khara and Trishira remaining alive. As Khara prepared to attack Ram, his general Trishira begged him for permission to fight first. Khara agreed, and thus the three-headed Rakshasa came toward Ram, showering him with arrows. When some of the arrows pierced Ram's forehead, Ram became enraged and quickly retaliated by killing Trishira's horses and driver and knocking down his flag. Then, as Trishira attempted to jump down from his disabled chariot, Ram pierced his heart with a fiery arrow and cut his three heads off with three more. Khara rallied the few remaining Rakshasas that had survived and fearfully attacked Ram. During the fierce duel that ensued, the streams of arrows so completely covered the sky that the sun became invisible. Then, bringing his chariot close by, Khara dexterously cut Rama's bow in two. Next, Khara released 1,000 arrows that shattered Ram's armor, which fell to the ground in pieces. Although his arms were deeply cut, Ram calmly strung the bow of Lord Vishnu. Ram then cut down Khara's emblem, but the Rakshasa retaliated with four arrows that bathed Ram in his own blood. Becoming more enraged, Ram quickly released six arrows that pierced Khara's head, arms, and chest. Then, with 13 more, Ram killed Khara's four horses, severed the driver's head, cut off his opponent's bow, and smashed his chariot. The last arrow, which appeared as dazzling as lightning, pierced Khara's chest, making him fall back senseless. Khara, however, quickly recovered and jumped down from his ruined chariot. Then he stood before Ram, club in hand. Ram chastised him, saying, "You cruel and sinful Rakshasa, Since you have dedicated your life to giving pain to others, you are thoroughly condemned. To punish you, I shall now strike off your head this very hour. This merely enraged Khara further. He screamed at Ram, "You vile wretch! Those who are actually heroes do not brag about their prowess." Khara hurled his gigantic mace at Ram. The blazing club burned to ashes all the trees and bushes that stood in its path. However, Rama's arrows easily broke the club to pieces as it soared through the air. Then the two again exchanged harsh words, and Khara, looking for a weapon to attack Ram with, uprooted a huge tree. Whirling it around and around, Khara released the tree at Ram, shouting, "You are killed." Ram, however, easily cut the tree to pieces. Then, desiring to end the battle, Ram released 1,000 arrows. With blood flowing from nearly every pore of his body, Khara made a final rush toward Ram. As he did, Ram selected a blazing arrow, which entered Khara's chest and burst into flames. Finally, the Rakshasa fell to the ground, dead. The demigods became overjoyed, witnessing Ram's victory from their airplanes in the sky. As they beat on drums and showered flowers, the demigods glorified Ram for his astonishing feat of killing all the Rakshasas single handedly in such a short time. Great rishis, headed by Agastya, appeared before Ram and said, "When Indra previously visited Sarbhanga, it was to arrange for your killing these Rakshasas. That is why the Rishi advised you to dwell in this region." Thereafter, Sita and Lakshman came out from the cave they were sheltered in, and upon seeing Ram safe and sound, Sita ran to embrace him with great joy. One Rakshasa named Akampana, who had somehow escaped the massacre, went to Ravana's abode in Lanka and informed Ravana of the death of his two brothers. Upon hearing the news, Ravana became red with rage, shouting, "Who dares to offend me in this way, bringing about his own death? No one can save him now, not even Indra, Yamraj, or Vishnu. Tell me at once, who has dared to make me so angry?" Fearful of Ravana's wrath, Akampan begged Ravan, "My dear lord, I shall gladly answer your questions. However, please promise that you will not become angry toward me for my truthful speech." Thus, after gaining Ravana's assurance, Akampana explained, "The 14,000 Rakshasas, including your two brothers, were killed by a human being named Ram, the son of King Dashrath." Ravan then inquired, "Was this Ram accompanied by all the demigods?" Accompanied, Akampan replied, "Oh no, my lord, this Ram killed all the Rakshasas single handed without even taking help from his younger brother. Indeed, Ram is so powerful that he accomplished this awesome task in a very short time, less than 2 hours. No one could stand before Ram. When he became enraged, it appeared as if the entire universe would be destroyed." Ravan angrily declared, "I shall go to Janasthan at once and kill this Ram and Lakshman. Then we will see what kind of heroes they really are." But Akampan warned Ravan, "Please do not act hastily, underestimating the power of Ram. He is capable of annihilating the entire universe and again recreating it. Even if the demigods and demons all combined together, I do not think they could kill Ram. Therefore, O Lord, do not consider attacking him with force. There is, however, another way that I think could provide the means for Ram's death. The wife of Ram, named Sita, is incomparably beautiful, with a face that is lovelier and fairer than thousands of moons. Indeed, she is the very emblem of feminine attractiveness and the perfection of womanly chastity and behavior. I think that without Sita, Ram could no longer bear to live. Therefore, I suggest that you go to kidnap her. Ravan immediately liked this idea, and after reflecting momentarily, he responded, "Your suggestion is brilliant. I shall go to Panchvati tomorrow on my chariot and carry Sita away by force with great pleasure." After dismissing Akampan, Ravan went to the hermitage of Tadaka's, Tartaka's son, Marich. After receiving Ravana with great respect and washing his feet, Marich inquired, "O Lord of the Rakshasas, your surprise visit here fills my mind with misgiving. I know that you would not have come personally unless the matter were most important." Ravan replied, "You are certainly correct. A human being named Ram has completely annihilated my army of Rakshasas posted at Jansthan. Ram's brother Lakshman had disfigured my sister Shurpnakha, causing Khar and Dushan to retaliate. I considered my two brothers invincible, but they have been slain along with all their soldiers. I need your help, Marich, because I plan to kidnap Ram's wife, Sita." With great shock and horror, Marich responded, "Whoever has given you this idea is your worst enemy in the guise of a friend. O Ravana, if you try to carry out this foolish plan, it will only result in your destruction, for Ram has inconceivable prowess on the level of Lord Vishnu himself. Ram is like a fathomless ocean. Crocodiles are his bow, and whirlpools are his mighty arms. The releasing of his arrows is like the constant flowing of waves. The span of the ocean from shore to shore is the battlefield wherein his enemies drown. O king of the Rakshasas, it would be far better for you to control your wrath and return to Lanka. Enjoy yourself there along with your wives, and let Ram enjoy with his wife in the Dandakaranya forest. Otherwise, you will bring disaster down upon your own head." Taking Marich's advice, Ravana returned to his magnificent palace at Lanka. Meanwhile, Shupnakha, having witnessed the slaughter of all the Rakshasas at Jansthan, went to Lanka to see her brother Ravan. Ravan had 10 heads and 20 arms, and his body bore many scars from former conflicts, including those inflicted by Lord Vishnu's Sudarshan Chakra. Once Ravan had attacked Bhogwati, the capital of the Nagas. After defeating the serpents Vasuki and Takshak, he took away Takshak's wife by force. Then, after conquering Kuvera, Ravana took possession of his Pushpaka chariot. Then, simply out of spite, he destroyed some of the heavenly gardens. Long ago, Ravana had performed severe austerities, and at the end of 10,000 years, he began offering his 10 heads in sacrifice to Lord Brahma. Being pleased with Ravana, Lord Brahma awarded him immunity from death at the hands of all living creatures except human beings. After receiving this benediction, the puffed up Ravana began killing Brahmanas and disrupting their sacrifices. Thus, he became a thorn in the side of the demigods, who fervently prayed to Lord Vishnu for his destruction. Ravan was seated on an ornate golden throne within his 70 within his seven-story palace when Shurpnakha came into his presence and revealed her disfigured face. Greatly agitated, she said, "My dear brother, are you so absorbed in sense gratification that you fail to recognize the grave danger at hand? When the king is only interested in his own vulgar enjoyment, and does not pay attention to state affairs, everyone comes to despise him. Have not you spies haven't your spies reported how Ram single-handedly slaughtered 14,000 Rakshasas at Jansthan, including your two brothers? You are a useless king, and I predict that you will not remain on the throne for long. Ravan became inflamed by the prodding from his sister, especially as she did it in front of his ministers. Barely controlling his anger, he inquired from her, "Who is this Ram, and what is his strength? Was it he that deformed you like this? Speak now, for I want to know everything." Shurpanakha replied, "With his long, powerful arms and large eyes, shaped like lotus petals, Ram appears to be the god of love himself. His complexion has a dark, greenish blue hue, and he is strongly built like a lion. His bow is as effulgent as a rainbow, and when he stretches it to full length, he shoots golden arrows that resemble venomous snakes, releasing them so fast that you can't tell whether he is pulling out the arrow or shooting it. Although he is the most heroic Kshatriya, he has dressed himself in tree bark and deerskin and keeps matted hair. He killed the entire army of Rakshasas at Jansthan with a volley of arrows. He has he has such exceptional strength that he has even subdued Khara and Dushana. I am sure he could divert the current of a river or bring down the stars and planets from the heavens. Ram's younger brother is Lakshmana, and he was the one who cut off my nose and ears under his elder brother's instruction. The wife of Ram is named Sita, and she is exactly like the goddess of fortune. She has large, dark eyes, and the beauty of her face surpasses that of many, many moons. Her smooth skin is the color of molten gold, and her slim waist, graceful hips, and full breasts make her incomparably beautiful. O Ravana, there is no other woman like Sita. If you were to see her, you would fall madly in love, for she would make a perfect wife for you. I intended to capture her to bring to you, but instead I was disfigured by Lakshmana. Now, my dear brother, you should go and kidnap Sita. That is, if you truly are as powerful a hero as you think. When he heard about the lovely Sita, Ravan became fully determined to possess her. He again mounted his chariot and, after crossing the sea, went to the ashram of Marich, who was dressed like a rishi, engaged in performing austerities. Marich inquired from Ravan respectfully, "O king, what is the reason for your early return to my residence?" Ravan replied, "After hearing of Ram slaughtering the Rakshasas at Jansthan, I have not found a moment's peace. I have, therefore, made up my mind to kidnap Sita, and I want you to help me. To this end, I have devised a very clever plan. I want you to take the form of a golden deer freckled with silver spots. Afterwards, go out into the forest and play in front of Sita. She will surely become captivated by such a wonderful creature and desire to have it as her pet. After you prance, after you prance playfully before her, lead Ram astray. Once you have done this, I will come and kidnap Sita, taking her back to Lanka. Thereafter, when Ram becomes aggrieved and emaciated due to separation from his beloved wife, I will easily be able to slay him. Upon hearing the name of Ram, Marich became greatly fearful. His mouth dried up, and staring with unblinking eyes, Marich addressed Ravan with folded hands. O Lord, if you try to carry out this plan, it surely will cause the destruction of all the Rakshasas and your kingdom of Lanka. Because of your lusty nature and ignorance of Ram's prowess, you are foolishly rushing toward your own doom. Please hear from me of Ram's supreme potency before you act blindly and bring about your own destruction. Previously, I used to wander about the earth, club in hand, feeling very proud of my superhuman strength. I subsisted upon the flesh of rishis in the Dandakaranya forest. Out of fear, Vishwamitra approached King Dashrath to solicit Ram's help for protecting his sacrificial performances. Thereafter, while Ram guarded Vishwamitra's sacrificial arena, I ignorantly went there with the intention of disrupting the proceedings. However, with just one arrow, Ram hurled me 800 miles into the ocean and then killed the other Rakshasas accompanying me. When I regained consciousness, having thus been spared by Ram, I returned to Lanka, but was still not cured of my false pride. Taking the form of a large carnivorous stag with a flaming tongue, I returned to the Dandakaranya forest and roamed about, drinking the blood of the rishis. As it happened, I again came upon Ram, excuse me, As it happened, I again came upon Ram, who was wandering in the Dandakaranya forest with Lakshman and Sita. With the bitter memory of my past defeat in my mind, and considering how Ram had accepted a life of renunciation, I was determined to gain revenge. However, when I rushed at him, Ram released 3 arrows. My 2 companions were killed instantly, and I fled for my life. I think my life was spared only because Ram's arrows do not kill one who flees from the battlefield. Ever since that time, I have been consumed with fear of Ram. As a result, my inclination for violence and fighting has vanished. Having given up all malice toward others, I have taken to an ascetic life of yoga practice. However, I have failed to obtain peace of mind, for whenever I happen to glance upon a tree, I think it is I think that it is Ram dressed in tree bark. Thus, the entire forest appears to have become transformed into innumerable Rams. Because of this, whenever I look anywhere, I become terrified. Sometimes I see Ram in my dreams, and I immediately wake up, my heart thumping in terror. Indeed, I have become so afraid of Ram that whenever I hear a word beginning with the letter R, such as Rath or Ratna, my heart trembles with fear. O king, for your own welfare, as well as for mine, I advise you to forget kidnapping Sita. Aside from fearing Ram, why should you perform such a sinful act? There is no offense more punishable than the abduction of another's wife. Remain satisfied with your thousands of wives and save your dignity, fortune, kingdom, and life itself. Having listened patiently, Ravan replied, now you must listen, Marich. I did not come for your advice. I came to obtain your help in executing my plan to kidnap Sita. As my minister, it is your duty to give advice only when asked and to obey my orders without question. I have made up my mind and nothing can deter me. I want you to take the form of a deer to charm Sita. Then, when she begs Ram to capture you, lead him deep into the forest and call out, O Sita, O Lakshman. When he thinks that his brother is in difficulty, Lakshman will leave Sita aside to go help him. Just perform this small service, and in return, I will reward you with half of my kingdom. However, if you refuse, then I shall kill you myself this very day. It is your choice. You may take certain death at my hands or possible death at the hand of Ram. Make up your mind. Marich, however, boldly declared, flatterers are quite easy to come by, my lord. Rare is that person who will speak unpleasant words for the benefit of others. A minister should always give good advice, even if uncalled for, especially when the king is misguided. Unfortunately, however, one who is about to die is never willing to take good advice. O king, if we carry out your plan, I am certain that both of us will end up dead. Still, I would rather die at the hands of an exalted enemy on the battlefield than be killed by you here. Therefore, let us depart at once. Ravan was pleased that Marich saw the wisdom of his ultimatum. He embraced Marich and they mounted Ravana's aerial chariot and departed. After flying over numerous forests, rivers, towns, and fields, they landed in the Dandakaranya forest, near where Ram, Sita, and Lakshman were residing. Upon descending from the chariot, Marich immediately transformed himself into a beautiful deer. Then, going to Ram's cottage, he began to prance playfully to and fro. Maricha's deer form had numerous jewel-like silver spots, with the tips of its horns appearing like sapphires. Its mouth appeared like a pinkish lotus flower, its tail like a rainbow, and its ears were bright blue. Indeed, the magical deer appeared to have been constructed from many varieties of valuable jewels. With a dazzling luster, the deer seemed to illuminate the entire area surrounding the cottage. Sometimes it nibbled at the grass, and sometimes it frolicked among the trees. At that time, Sita was gathering flowers. Seeing her, Marich, in the form of a deer, leapt, ran, crouched, and turned, eager to attract her attention. All the other deer in the area fled away on catching the scent of the disguised Rakshasa. The magical deer came close to Sita and bounded in front of her. Sita became captivated with wonder and enchantment, for she had never before seen such a wonderful deer. With wide open eyes, she called out, O Ram, O Lakshman, come quickly. As Sita stood with eyes fixed, Ram and Lakshman also beheld the magical deer. Lakshman, however, was wary. This might be a trick, he said. The Rakshas Marich is known to take such animal forms just to entice and waylay kings who come to the forest to hunt. Sita interrupted Lakshman, for her intelligence had already become deluded by watching the magical deer, created by the Rakshasa's mystical prowess. O Ram, she said, please catch this deer, for it has caught my fancy. Such a deer would make a lovely pet for me and provide a welcome diversion from our dreary forest existence. Please go quickly and catch this deer. I will take it back with us when we return to Ayodhya at the end of our exile. Surely it will delight Bharat and our mothers. Please, Ram, I want so much to have it to play with. It is so lovely, and its smooth skin shines like the moon. Oh, my husband, if you cannot capture it alive, at least find and kill it so that I may have its beautiful jewel-like hide for a rug. Perhaps you think me a foolish woman, but I must have this deer. I have become completely enchanted by its beauty. Ram was delighted to have the chance to fulfill Sita's desire, and he too was captivated by the deer's mysterious beauty. He told Lakshman, Sita is enthralled with this deer, and I must bring it for her. Look at its tongue, which darts like a flame or lightning from a cloud. Nowhere, nowhere is such a deer to be found, not even in the heavenly gardens. This deer's splendor will cost it its life. I will make a carpet of its spotted golden skin, so Sita and I can enjoy sitting together upon it. And if, as you say, the deer is actually Marich, then killing it will be beneficial for all the rishis that reside in this forest. O Lakshmana, stay here with bow in hand until I return. Keep a careful watch over Sita. Ram took up a sword, bow, and two quivers, whereupon Marich suddenly vanished from sight. As Ram entered the forest, the deer once again came into view, then ran away swiftly, while frequently looking backwards. Again, the deer came close to Ram, as if tempting him to capture it. As Ram rushed toward the deer, however, it disappeared from sight. In this way, Marich lured Ram far away from his cottage. Confused by the deer's puzzling movements, Ram felt helpless and frustrated. Finally, feeling exhausted from the chase, Ram rested for a while beneath a tree. Then, once again, the deer suddenly appeared close by. However, just when Ram rose up to capture it, the deer mysteriously vanished. Out of frustration, Ram gave up the idea of trying to capture the deer alive. Thus, when it next appeared at some distance, Ram pulled out a blazing arrow of Lord Brahma and released it to kill the deer. Marich jumped high, trying to avoid Ram's arrow, but it pierced his heart nonetheless. As Marich fell to the ground, mortally wounded, he assumed his real form as a Rakshasa. Then, remembering Ravana's instructions, Marich imitated Ram's voice and called out in great distress, O Sita, O Lakshman. Marich then gave up his life. And upon hearing his call, Ram became dejected, wondering, what will Sita and Lakshman think? A terrible fear entered Ram's heart as he rushed back to his cottage. Meanwhile, when Sita heard the voice of Marich, she thought that Ram was crying out for help. In panic, she turned to Lakshman, urging, Go quickly to Ram and find out what has happened. That was Ram crying out for help. He needs you. O Lakshman, my heart is throbbing and I can hardly breathe. I think the Rakshasas must have overwhelmed Ram. With Ram's order to guard Sita firmly in mind, Lakshman did not move away. His seeming indifference upset Sita even more, impelling her to chastise Lakshman with harsh words. Why do you stand here? Why do you stand there? Do you want Ram to die? It has now become evident that you are merely the enemy of your elder brother in the guise of a friend. I think you wish Ram to die so you may enjoy me as you like. Otherwise, you would surely rush to his rescue. Go quickly, Lakshman. What is the use of me remaining alive and safe while my husband is in danger? As Sita sobbed and trembled with fear, Lakshman replied, try to control yourself. Rest assured, no one can ever harm Ram. Neither the Rakshasas nor Indra nor all the demigods can harm him. I am convinced the voice you heard was the conjuring trick of Marich made to frighten us. Ram has ordered me to protect you, therefore I must stay here and obey him. Sita was by now almost deranged with anxiety, and Lakshmana's words only aroused her anger more. Her eyes red with rage, Sita raved, you shameless and wicked man! I think you are enjoying Ram's misfortune. Otherwise, why would you speak so casually? You have only been pretending to be your elder brother's humble servant. The real reason you have accompanied Ram to the forest was to look for an opportunity to kill him and fulfill your lusty desires to enjoy me. Perhaps you are Bharat's agent. In any case, you will never obtain the fulfillment of your sinful desires. Do you really think I would accept you after having been the wife of lotus eyed Ram? I would rather die. Indeed, without Ram, I could not bear to live for a moment. Sita's words pierced Lakshman's heart as if they were sharp arrows. With folded hands, the horrified Lakshman replied, O princess of Mithila, you are like a deity to me. Thus, I cannot speak harshly in reply. I know that it is the nature of women to create trouble and discord between friends. Indeed, women are so fickle and hard hearted that when they become obsessed with some desire, they give up all sense of morality. O daughter of King Janak, you have goaded me with your sharp words, and so I will go to Ram as you demand. However, because I see terrible omens foreboding great evil, I fear that when I return with Ram, we will no longer find you here. With great, with great agitation, Sita said, if Ram is killed, then I shall jump off a cliff, drown myself, or take poison. I would rather die than be touched by another man. Inflamed with rage by Sita's harsh words, Lakshman was torn between duty and his inner desire to see Ram. Thus, as Sita continued to malign him, Lakshman reluctantly departed, allowing Ravana his eagerly awaited opportunity. Dressed in saffron cloth, his hair tied in a knot on top of his head, wearing wooden sandals, and carrying an umbrella over his right shoulder and a staff and water pot in his left hand, Ravan came before Sita in the guise of a wandering mendicant. Sitting inside her cottage, Sita was crying, shedding tears of grief in Ram's absence, as Ravana appeared at her doorway. Out of fear, the wind ceased blowing, the leaves on the trees in the forest stopped fluttering, and the waters of the Godavari became hushed. While chanting Vedic mantras, Ravan approached Sita. As he stared at her, his heart became pierced by Cupid's arrows. Then, hoping to charm her, Ravana spoke to Sita. Who are you, O lovely lady, residing all alone within this terrible forest? Are you the goddess of modesty, Ri, the goddess of fame, Kirti, the goddess of mystic powers, Bhuti, or the goddess of love, Rati? Perhaps you are Lakshmi herself, now bereft of your lotus flower. Your smooth white teeth are like a row of jasmine birds, and your dark eyes and, and your dark eyes resemble two bumblebees that hover over your lotus-like face. Your thighs are tapered and graceful, like the trunks of elephants, and your hips are rounded and ample. Your firm, abundant breasts seem to touch each other, and their nipples are pointed and prominent. Beneath them is a waist so slim that a thumb and index finger can circle it perfectly. No mortal or celestial woman can equal you in beauty, which has ravished my heart, like a swelling river that floods its banks. O dark eyed lady, why do you remain here when you could prosper elsewhere? You should reside in a palace adorned with the finest dresses and jewels, attended by countless servants. Are you the wife of one of the Rudras, Maruts, or Vasus? O sweet smiling one, choose a worthy husband and leave this jungle that abounds with ferocious animals. Even though addressed so boldly, Sita offered her guest a proper reception, not wishing to offend a Brahmana. After offering him a seat and water to wash his feet, Sita gave her guest a meal and explained, Dear sir, my name is Sita, the daughter of the noble minded king Janak of Mithila. At the age of 9, I was married to my beloved husband Ram. Later, at the urging of his wife, my father in law, King Dashrath, installed her son Bharat as heir apparent, banishing Ram to the forest for 14 years. Please tell me your name and ancestry and why you have come to the Dandkaranya forest. No longer able to control his emotions, Ravan excitedly replied, I am Ravan, the king of the Rakshasas. Even great demigods tremble at the mere mention of my name. O faultless, O faultless, beautiful one, now that I have seen you, I could never again take delight in my other innumerable consorts. My dear Sita, become my principal queen, and you shall have 5,000 maidservants awaiting your command. Leave this forest and enjoy with me in the beautiful gardens of Lanka. Hearing Ravan, Sita became enraged. She contemptuously replied, I am completely devout I am completely devoted to Ram, who is as steady as a rock, as grave as the ocean, and sheltering like a banyan tree. I am devoted to Ram, who is mighty armed and broad chested, whose face resembles the full moon, and who is self controlled and virtuous. Ram is a lion among men, and you, who are like a jackal, want to possess me, a lioness. Would you dare touch the sun or lift up Mount Mandara? Would you pierce your eyes with a needle or carry a blazing fire in your garment? Would you attempt to swim across the ocean with a boulder tied to your neck? Then why do you dare consider running away with Ram's wife? Ram is Garuda, and you are but a crow. Ram is the ocean, and you a small puddle. Ram is nectar, and you are stale gruel. He is sandalwood, and you are mud. He is gold, and you are iron. Ram is a swan, and you are no better than a vulture. You may kidnap me, but as long as Ram lives, you could no more enjoy me than a fly that flounders in ghee. Although speaking boldly, Sita was shaking with fear. Thus, to further intimidate her, Ravan said, Listen, my lovely lady, I am the half brother of Kuvera, the lord of wealth. After vanquishing him, I took away his Pushpak chariot, and now he hides himself near Mount Kailash. The demigods are all afraid of me, and wherever I go, the sunshine becomes like moonshine. The wind calms itself, and rivers stop flowing. Forget Ram, for he is a mere mortal, doomed to soon perish. Come with me and enjoy heavenly delights. I passionately yearn for you. Do not disappoint me. Sita then replied, If you are truly Kuvera's brother, then why do you act with such wicked intentions? The ravisher of Indra's wife may survive, but whoever tries to molest me is doomed. Finally, Ravana lost all patience. In a fit of rage, he revealed his gigantic form as a fierce Rakshasa. with 10 heads, 20 arms, and sharp teeth. The king of Rakshasas then declared, "If you wish to have a husband who is renowned throughout the three worlds, then accept me. Serve me, and I shall never displease you. Why are you so fond of Ram, who has been banished to the forest?" Ravan then grabbed Sita by the hair with his left hand, as if summoned. Ravana's golden chariot came close by, and, placing his right hand upon her thigh, the king of the Rakshasas took the frightened Sita in his arms and ascended into the sky. As they ascended, Sita screamed out, "Ram, Ram, come and save me. Punish this wretched Ravana." In desperation, Sita called out to the trees, the river, birds, and animals, begging them to inform Ram that she had been abducted. Just then, Sita saw Jatayu sleeping while perched atop a tree. Sita called out to him, "Jatayu, please help me. Please go now and tell Ram that I have been kidnapped by the evil Ravana." Hearing Sita's cries, Jatayu awakened, and seeing how she was being roughly handled by Ravana, he challenged the king of the Rakshasas, saying, "O Ravana, I am Jatayu, the king of the vultures. How can you dare lay your hands on the wife of another? Beware, for you are carrying a poisonous snake in your arms. I am now 60,000 years old and without weapons, and you are young with many weapons, but I will not allow you to carry away Sita. I warn you, give up your evil intentions, or else prepare to be thrown from your chariot like a ripe fruit falling from a tree." Thus challenged, Ravan angrily rushed toward Jatayu. As the fighting began, it appeared that two great mountains were striking one another. Ravan threw many weapons at Jatayu, while the giant vulture gouged Ravan with his talon feet. Although many powerful arrows pierced Jatayu, the sight of Sita crying upon Ravana's chariot enabled him to tolerate the pain. Jatayu warded off the onslaught of arrows. Jatayu warded off the onslaught of arrows with his wings and managed to break Ravana's bow with his feet. Gaining this advantage, Jatayu quickly cut off Ravana's armor, and with his sharp claws, he killed the mules yoked to the chariot. He smashed the chariot to pieces while simultaneously decapitating Ravana's driver with his beak. His chariot broken, Ravana fell to the ground while tightly clasping Sita in his arms. As they witnessed this wonderful display of prowess, all the creatures watching applauded Jatayu's valor. However, Jatayu was old and soon became exhausted. Ravan rose up into the sky, holding Sita with one hand and bearing a sword in another. Condemning Ravana, Jatayu suddenly swooped down upon his back and began pulling at his hair so hard that the Rakshasa king's lips quivered with indignation. Pressing Sita tightly to his left thigh, Ravan struck back at Jatayu with the palm of his hand. Jatayu, however, dodged the blow and then tore off Ravana's 10 left arms with his powerful beak. Ravana's arms, however, were immediately replaced by new arms. Leaving Sita aside, the king of the Rakshasas began beating Jatayu with his fists and feet. The fighting continued for nearly an hour. Finally, in desperation, Ravana took up his sword and cut off Jatayu's wings, feet, and flanks, causing him to fall mortally wounded to the ground. Greatly distressed, Sita rushed to where Jatayu lay, embracing him with tears in her eyes. Ravan, however, quickly grabbed Sita by the hair and carried her off as she cried out in grief, "Ram, Ram." Sita's cries caused the entire universe to fall out of order. Everything became enveloped in darkness. In empathy with Sita's grief, the wind no longer blew, and the sun lost its luster. Lord Brahma, however, who could perceive the entire incident through divine eyes, declared, "Our purpose is now accomplished." Thereafter, as Ravan rose into the sky, Sita's ornaments broke apart, her jewels falling to the ground. The pearls from her necklace slipped from her breast like the pure water of the Ganga falling from the sky. Overwhelmed with fear and grief, Sita continuously struggled to free herself from Ravana's grip, reproaching him again and again for his vile, cowardly act. As Ravan sped towards Lanka, all creatures appeared to lament. There is no dharma, there is no truth, there is no gentleness. Her loose hair waving in the wind, her mark of tilak erased, and her face devoid of cheer, Sita moaned, "O Ram, O Lakshman." Just then, Sita saw five monkey chiefs sitting atop a mountain. Unnoticed by Ravana, she took off her silk upper cloth and some jewels and dropped them in the midst of the forest dwellers, hoping they would inform Ram. As the monkeys stared with unblinking eyes, Ravan carried Sita away toward Lanka. Like many other powerful materialists, Ravan risked everything to gain the object of his desire. While carrying Sita across the ocean to his kingdom, he relished the thought of having successfully abducted her, and he eagerly anticipated making her his queen. Blinded by lust, he failed to realize that the object of his desire was actually death personified for him. The goddess of fortune always serves the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and when materialists try to enjoy her, she manifests to them as Durga, the deadly material nature. As the mistress of this world, Durga rides a tiger and carries a trident whose prongs are the threefold miseries of material life: miseries arising from the body and mind, miseries inflicted by other living entities, and miseries imposed by higher powers in the form of natural disasters. Indeed, no one, not even the greatest scientist or conqueror, can counteract the sufferings meted out by Durga. Thinking, him, thinking himself more powerful than God, Ravan dangerously ignored reality. After crossing the ocean, Ravan took Sita into the inner apartments of his palace. There, he ordered his fierce Rakshasi attendants: "Watch over Sita most carefully and let no one see her face without my permission. Let her have gold, jewels, the best clothing, ornaments, and food, whatever she may desire. However, take heed of my warning. Anyone who dares to utter one harsh word toward her will die by my hands." After this, Ravan called for 8 powerful Rakshasas, saying, "Ever since Ram killed all the Rakshasas at Jansthan, I have felt an intolerable enmity toward him. Indeed, I will not sleep peacefully until Ram is killed. Go now to Jansthan, and after spying on him, bring back any information that you may gather." Then again Ravana went to see Sita, being overwhelmed with desire. Upon entering her quarters, he found her in a distressed state, surrounded by numerous Rakshasis. Bathed in her own tears, Sita appeared like a wind buffeted boat at sea, or a doe strayed from its herd and surrounded by dogs. Although she was unwilling, Ravan forced Sita to accompany him on a tour of his palace. The opulent palace resembled that of the demigods, with thousands of servants waiting to carry out Ravan's desires. Many rooms had cages with exotic birds, and the palace walls were covered with intricate designs of precious jewels. The couches were made of ivory inlaid with gold. Musicians played sweet and melodious songs, and lotus flowers and fountains adorned the palace gardens and ponds. As she viewed the spacious and fabulously decorated rooms, each containing thousands of women adorned with untold valuable jewels, Ravan explained, Lanka is inhabited by 32 crores of Rakshasas, excluding the aged and infants, and thousands of these are my personal servants. If you are wise, O lovely Sita, you will fulfill my ardent desire and become my principal queen. Become my mistress and rule over all this opulence. I am tormented by love for you and shall be devoted to you alone. Please grant me your favor and look upon me with affection, for youthful beauty is fleeting. You should enjoy life with me and forget the insignificant Ram. Sita covered her moon like face and began shedding silent tears. Ravan then continued, do not be afraid that our union goes against religious principles. I love you more than life itself. I fall at your feet and beg you to grant me your favor. Let this plea, which has arisen from love's anguish, not go in vain. Never before has Ravan bowed down before any woman. Ravan thought that by speaking of his love for her, Sita would soon be subdued. However, Sita fearlessly replied, my heart remains for Ram alone. Why should I, a swan sporting with her mate within a lotus filled lake, prefer a duck meandering on the shore? You can do whatever you like to me. Because of your vile, sinful lust, you will soon meet your death at the hands of Ram. After being harshly rebuked by Sita, Ravan became enraged, saying, I will give you just 12 months to surrender to me. At the end of that time, if you still resist me, I will have my cooks cut you to pieces and serve you as my breakfast. Ravan then turned to the Rakshasi attendants and ordered, transfer Sita to the Ashoka grove, keep a careful watch over her, and try to win her over to my side by whatever means is required. Threaten her, flatter her, do whatever it takes, but tame her as one would an elephant. Arriving at the beautiful Ashoka grove, replete with trees full of fruits and flowers, Sita became overwhelmed with anguish. Due to being constantly intimidated by the deformed Rakshasis, she soon fainted out of fright. At that time, Lord Brahma summoned Indra and said, Sita has been kidnapped by Ravan and taken to Lanka. This is our good fortune, for it surely means the imminent destruction of the Rakshasa king. Still, there is the danger that Sita may die due to separation from Ram. Therefore, I want you to go and give her this heavenly sweet rice to eat. Thereafter, Indra went to the Ashoka grove at Lanka along with Nidra Devi, the goddess of sleep. After Nidra had put all the Rakshasas to sleep, Indra, in the dress of a Brahmana, approached Sita and said, I am the heavenly king, come to render assistance to Lord Ram. Please take this celestial sweet rice, for it will make you immune to hunger, thirst, and bodily miseries for many years to come. Sita doubted that the Brahmana was Indra and requested him to reveal his celestial form. Upon her request, Indra assumed his true form. When Sita observed that his feet did not touch the ground, his garland was not faded, and his clothes were completely free from dust, she became convinced of his identity and accepted the sweet rice. Sita first offered the food by praying for Ram to accept it. As soon as she ate it, she became freed from all bodily pangs. Their mission accomplished, Indra and Nidra Devi vanished from the scene. Whenever the Lord's devotee is in great difficulty, the Lord sees to his protection. A devotee never worries for his own protection or well being. Knowing that Krishna or Ram is always attentive to his needs, he concentrates on his service to the Lord. In the wonderful reciprocation of love, the devotee always thinks of his Lord, and the Lord always thinks of his devotee. After killing Marich, Ram hastened back to his cottage. Along the way, he thought, the Rakshasas certainly want to take revenge against me for slaughtering their entire army at Jansthan. Marich's tricks were probably part of a plan to lure me away and devour Sita. I pray that Lakshman did not leave Sita alone after hearing Marich cry out, perfectly imitating my voice. Ram's apprehension increased upon hearing the frightful cry of a jackal at his back. Then birds and other wild animals began to pass Ram on his right side, uttering frightful cries. Moreover, his left eye twitched, his left arm throbbed convulsively, and his heart thumped. While observing these inauspicious signs, Ram met Lakshman coming from the cottage. Taking him by the left hand, Ram immediately began to reproach him, saying, how could you disobey my order, leaving Sita unprotected? From all the inauspicious omens that have appeared, I can understand that she has either been killed or kidnapped. O Lakshman, how could you leave Sita all alone? As the two rushed back to the cottage, Ram suddenly tripped on the forest path. Overwhelmed by fear of losing Sita and angry with Lakshman for leaving her unprotected, Ram began to lament like a deranged person. If Sita is dead, then I shall kill myself, for I cannot bear to think of living without her. O Lakshman, how could you betray me like this and leave dear Sita unprotected? Lakshman hoped to explain, saying, Sita became a mad woman after hearing your cries for help. She spoke harshly, accusing me of leaving you to die so I could enjoy with her. Then she accused me of being Bharat's accomplice, your enemy in disguise. Hoping to prove her accusations false, I came here to your aid. Ram angrily replied, there is no excuse for leaving Sita unprotected. You are fully aware that I am unconquerable and do not lack prowess for defending myself from Rakshasas or anyone else. You should not have become provoked by a woman's anger and disobeyed my order. O Lakshmana, you have made a great mistake. Such behavior is unworthy of you. Ram and Lakshman finally reached their cottage, only to find it deserted. Ram then began searching all around for Sita. Failing to find her, his face appeared withered and dark from grief. Afflicted with transcendental madness from feelings of separation, Ram began questioning the trees. Have you seen my beloved Sita pass this way, dressed in yellow silk and decorated with flowers in her hair? Ram then began asking the forest animals and birds if they had seen Sita. Receiving no reply, he became more morose. Then, imagining that Sita had suddenly appeared before him, Ram cried out, O dearly beloved, why are you running away from me and hiding yourself? Why do you not speak to me? Ram then imagined that Sita had been devoured by the Rakshasas and envisioned her delicate bodily features. Ram and Lakshman continued to comb the surrounding mountains and forests, refusing to give up hope of finding Sita. However, when Sita could not be found, Ram became discouraged and sat down in despair. Regardless, Lakshman encouraged him to continue searching. Thus, they roamed across many mountains, forests, and plains. Finally, Ram could go no further, and he gave way to intense grief. Standing motionless, seeing bereft of reason, seeming bereft of reason, he breathed hotly and his eyes filled with tears. Ram became indifferent to Lakshman's assurances that they would find Sita. Tormented by love, Ram cried out helplessly, Sita, Sita, again and again. As if deranged, Ram cried, My darling, have you hidden yourself just to play a joke with me? I beg you to please come out, for my suffering is intolerable. There are many instances of devotees weeping in separation from the Lord. The milkmaids of Vrindavan spent their whole life wandering in search of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, as the perfect devotee, also adopted the mood of separation as the highest expression of love of God. Still, one may ask why Ram, as the Supreme Lord, wept for his beloved like an ordinary man. Indeed, being the omniscient Lord, he certainly knew her whereabouts. The Lord enacts his pastimes for several reasons. Foremost, he comes to teach us that he is never impersonal but always the Supreme Person. Thus, he gives pleasure to his devotees and teaches mental speculators and mystic yogis that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person, captured and controlled by love. Secondly, he comes to establish Dharma, the way of righteousness. He also comes to annihilate the demons. By weeping over his abducted wife, Lord Ram establishes Dharma, right conduct. He shows us by negative example the condition of a man too attached to woman. This incident also shows that a woman should always be protected, lest she be exploited by Rakshasas like Ravan. Vedic living has no scope for a woman's being independent. However powerful a woman may be, she cannot protect herself independently. Still, this is for the instruction of the materialists. On the spiritual side, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not subject to material conditioning. On the spiritual side, Ram, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not subject to material conditioning. The separation Ram experiences from Sita is understood as transcendental conjugal love in separation. This is an activity of the Supreme Lord's pleasure potency and belongs to the mellow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. Although repeatedly called for, Sita did not appear. Ram became convinced she had been devoured by the Rakshasas. Lakshman was also sick at heart. Ram then said, O Lakshman, please go to the banks of the Godavari, for perhaps Sita has gone there to collect flowers. Thereafter, when Lakshman returned from the Godavari without Sita, Ram personally went to the river and began asking the trees and animals about her. However, due to their fear of Ravan, none of the creatures dared reply. Although Ram noticed that the deer were looking at him with meaningful intention. Ram then questioned the deer and tried reading their minds through their eyes. The deer seemed to reply by turning their heads upward and to the south, as if indicating that Sita had been carried away through the sky in that direction. Lakshman could understand the deer's message and suggested they walk toward the south in hope of finding some clue. After setting out, they soon came to a trail of scattered flowers, which Ram recognized as those he had given Sita. Addressing a nearby mountain, Ram asked, Where has Sita gone after passing this way? Receiving no answer, Ram became enraged, saying, O mighty hill, if you do not reply to me, I shall shatter you to pieces with my arrows. There was only silence as Ram glowered at the peak with hot eyes. Ram then prepared to release his arrows at the mountain when Lakshman pointed out Sita's footprints beside those of a giant Rakshasa. Following the footprints, Ram and Lakshman soon came upon Ravan's broken bow and quiver, portions of his scattered portions of his shattered chariot, along with the pieces of Sita's broken ornaments. Then, when drops of blood were found, Ram concluded that Sita was indeed devoured by the Rakshasas, for it appeared that two man eaters had fought over her at that spot. Gazing upon the dead mules, smashed chariot, and scattered weapons, Ram vowed, "No Rakshasa shall escape my vengeance, for today I will destroy them all in retaliation for Sita's murder. Why have the useless demigods not done something to save my helpless wife? If the demigods do not deliver Sita to me at once as revenge for their negligence and the crime of the Rakshasas, I shall destroy the entire universe." Ram's eyes were red hot with anger, and his lips, tightly pressed together, trembled with rage. Then, taking his bow from Lakshman, Ram placed a terrible arrow, meant to destroy the entire universe, upon the string. Terrified, Lakshman joined his hands in supplication, pleading, "Ram, by nature you are gentle, self controlled, and the well wisher of all living entities. Therefore, please control your wrath and do not act hastily. It appears to me that there was only one Rakshas involved in this fight, for there is but one broken chariot. Let us continue to search for Gita. Let us continue to search for Sita. If we still do not find her, then you can act as you see fit. My dear brother, you must practice forbearance, since suffering is inevitable. If you cannot tolerate life's miseries, how can the common man be expected to do so? You should only consider how your enemy can be killed. There is no need to destroy the entire universe. While speaking this way, Lakshman lovingly massaged his brother's lotus feet and gradually pacified Ram. After withdrawing the arrow from his bow, Ram assented to Lakshman's suggestion to search the entire area of Jansthan thoroughly. Thereafter, while combing the forest, Ram and Lakshman came upon the fallen Jatayu lying in a pool of blood. Ram thought he was a Rakshas disguised as a bird who had devoured Sita and was now resting. Thus, as Ram approached, he fitted an arrow to his bow, ready to release it. However, upon drawing near, Ram understood that it was Jatayu and that he had been fatally wounded while trying to rescue Sita from the clutches of Ravana. Understanding the situation, Ram threw his bow aside and embraced Jatayu. Seeing the plight of his servant, Ram became doubly aggrieved. Ram anxiously asked, "O Jatayu, please tell me everything you know about Sita and her abductor." The dying Jatayu related all that had happened and commented, "Ravan took Sita away at the time of day known as Vinda. If a person loses something at that time, he will surely reclaim it very soon. My dear Ram, do not be overly aggrieved because of Sita, for you shall certainly regain her after killing the Rakshasa king in battle." Then, as Jatayu described Ravan's exalted lineage, he gasped his last breath, uttering, "Ram, Ram." Ram told Lakshman, "I am more saddened by the death of Jatayu, who gave his life for my sake, than by the kidnapping of Sita. Go and bring some wood so we may cremate his body. Let it be known that Jatayu will attain the highest destination as a reward for his service to me." Lakshman prepared the funeral pyre, and Ram placed Jatayu's body upon it and lit the fire. The brothers made offerings for the benefit of Jatayu's departed soul and chanted Vedic mantras. Ram and Lakshman then went to the banks of the river Godavari to offer oblations of water and then took bath. Thus completing the thus completing the funeral ceremonies, Ram and Lakshman again fixed their minds upon the task of finding Sita and continued to wander the forest. Traveling towards the southwest, they reached an untrodden land overgrown with trees and bushes. After passing through that region with great difficulty, they left the Dandakaranya forest and entered the Kroncha forest. After passing through that, Ram and Lakshman entered another dense jungle. There, they were suddenly confronted by a huge Rakshasi, standing before a large cave. The ghastly Rakshasi, with her long, sharp teeth, large protruding belly, and hard skin, quickly stepped forward, catching Lakshman by the hand, saying, "My dear handsome hero, please come with me and revel in this delightful forest." Then the Rakshasi embraced Lakshman, saying, "I am yours, take me as your beloved wife." In reply, Lakshman angrily drew his sword and cut off the Rakshasi's ears, nose, and breasts. Bleeding and screaming with pain, the Rakshasi fled. Then Ram and Lakshman continued on as before. Suddenly, Ram said, "My left arm is throbbing and my mind feels perturbed. O Lakshman, we should prepare for imminent danger." A moment later, they heard the frightful cry of a Vanjulaka bird, and Lakshman remarked, "This indicates that victory will be ours." After Ram and Lakshman proceeded some distance into the forest, a loud noise was heard as a storm suddenly began brewing. Searching out the source of the noise, Ram and Lakshman proceeded cautiously, swords in hand. Before long, they came upon a huge Rakshas with no head, neck. Before long, they came upon a huge Rakshas with no head, neck, or legs, and a gigantic mouth located in the middle of his belly. The Rakshas was as big as a mountain, with sharp bristling hair all over his body. On his chest were two fiery eyes, and his long arms stretched out for 8 miles, enabling him to easily catch large animals to eat. Although Ram and Lakshman retreated to a distance of 2 miles, after seeing the monster, the Rakshas suddenly captured them in his grasp, squeezing so tightly that they were made helpless. Although Ram did not feel threatened, Lakshman felt despondent, saying, "O Ram, you should offer me as a sacrifice to this Rakshas in exchange for your own life. After that, you can continue your search for Sita." While Ram encouraged Lakshman not to be afraid, the Rakshas said, "My name is Kabanda. It is very fortunate that you have come to my forest because I have been hungry for a long time. Since you are the food which Providence has provided for me, I think that you will have a very difficult time keeping your precious lives." Lakshman then told Ram, "We should quickly save ourselves by cutting off this Rakshasa's arms with our swords." Hearing this, Kabanda became furious and immediately opened his fearful mouth wide, hoping to devour Ram and Lakshman at once. However, before Kabanda could do so, Ram severed his right arm and Lakshman cut off his left. Thus the Rakshasa fell to the ground, bathed in his own blood. In an anguished voice, Kabanda asked, "Who are you?" Lakshman replied, "This is Ram, a Kshatriya in the line of Ikshvaku. I am his brother, Lakshman. We have come here searching for Ram's wife, Sita, who has been kidnapped by the king of the Rakshasas, Ravan." Kabanda was overjoyed to hear the name of Ram. The Rakshasa then said, "I am so fortunate. You have come here to redeem me. Please listen as I explain how I acquired this ghastly form. In my last life, I was the son of Dhanu. By performing great austerities, I satisfied Lord Brahma and was granted the benediction of a long duration of life. After receiving this boon, however, I became very proud, thinking my arch enemy Indra could no longer harm me. Thereafter, when I attacked the King of Heaven on the battlefield, he hurled his thunderbolt at me. When the thunderbolt struck me, my head and legs were forced into my body. Finding myself in such a wretched condition, I begged Indra to kill me. However, he refused, saying that to do so would falsify the words of Lord Brahma. At last, when I asked Indra how I could survive without a head, he placed my mouth in the middle of my belly and made my arms 8 miles long. Indra then declared, when Ram and Lakshman come before you, you will regain your heavenly form. Kabanda continued, ever since that time, I have been catching creatures with my long arms and stuffing them into my mouth, hoping that one day I would catch Ram, mentioned by Indra. Then once I harassed a certain rishi who cursed me to retain this horrible form for eternity. I tearfully begged the rishi to prescribe some end to my plight. He confirmed that I would regain my original form after being cremated by Ram. Now I have been delivered by you, and after my death I will direct you to a powerful ally who will help you to attain your desired goal. Ram then explained, my wife Sita has been kidnapped by Ravan, the king of the Rakshasas. However, I only know his name. I know nothing else about him concerning his appearance or palace or place of residence. I will throw I will throw you into a big pit and cremate your body so that you can attain your desired destination. In return, give me some information about this Ravan. Kabanda then said, I am very sorry, but I do not know anything about Ravan. After being cremated, however, I will inform you of a person who has traveled throughout the three worlds. He will be able to assist you in locating the king of the Rakshasas. Thereafter, Ram and Lakshman took Kabanda into a mountain cave and placed his body upon the funeral pyre that Lakshman had prepared. Because it was so fat, when the body began to burn, it looked just like a huge lump of burning ghee. Then, from out of the fire arose Kabanda in his original celestial form, dressed in fine garments and decorated with ornaments and garlands. After taking his seat upon a celestial chariot pulled by swans, Kabanda said, O Ram, political misfortune can be overcome in 6 ways: by making peace, by fighting, by assassination, by building up superior arms and fortifications, by sowing dissension, and by seeking the help of others. Just as you are now placed in the height of adversity from the loss of your wife, so will you be able to retrieve her with the help of someone in a similar condition. That person is the monkey king Sugriv, who has been exiled by his brother Vali, the son of Indra. O Ram, you should make your you should make friends with Sugriv, who was begot by Surya in the wife of Rikshraj, for he is also in need of a benefactor. He is now living along with 4 other monkeys on Rishyamukh mountain, which is near Lake Pampa. First, go to Lake Pampa. It is a beautiful sight that abounds with exotic birds. These birds live without fear of human beings, for they have never been injured by them. You should feed these birds and the fish in Lake Pampa, and then meet the ascetic woman Shabri who resides there. The entire area is beautified by ever fresh flowers produced from the perspiration from the bodies of Matang Rishi's disciples as they brought fruits, roots, and flowers from the forest. The great sage Mutanga gave up his body at Lake Pampa long ago. Thereafter, the ascetic woman Shabari attended to his disciples. Although these rishis have also since ascended to higher worlds, Shabari still resides there, awaiting your audience before departing for Brahmalok. Near Lake Pampa, do we have more time, Mataji, or are we?
We are good. I think we are at a good spot.
Okay.
Right? They have come to the right place, and then the next person can pick up from there, right?
Yes, Mataji, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you so much for such an engaging reading. You got to get the good pieces today. So I will open up the lines for all the other devotees who are there, and also thank them for joining us, and also thank Gandharvika Mataji, no doubt, for arranging these wonderful reading sessions for all of us. So let me unmute everybody so that they can say Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. My pleasure to serve you. Vanchikalpatrubhyascha
Yasya Krupa Sindhibhyo Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Gopremanande Hari Hari Bol. Okay, I thought you had disappeared. Antardhan, as in Antardhan, Okay, so devotees, if we have your permission, then I will switch off. Who is there with you in the room? You said you have a lot of devotees. Hare Krishna. Okay, now who else is there on your left? Hare Krishna. Good to see you. Hare Krishna. Right, Vamsi Mohan Prabhu, where are you hiding?
We also have network provision.
Alrighty, so I'm going to end the meeting now. We'll meet again tomorrow as per whatever Gandhavika Mataji announces. Keep our fingers crossed for what are the goodies we're going to get tomorrow. Okay.